and welcome back to an incredible conversation that I think a lot of us need to be educated on, because today we're shining a light on adolescent health, which is a stage filled with big changes, both physically and emotionally. Now, as young women navigate this transition, proper nutrition and supplementation can play a key role in their overall well-being. Now, to help us navigate this, we have Laura Johnston, the CEO of Phytoceutics and integrative nutritional health coach, as well as Dr. Natalie Clarke, who are here to share some expert insights. So, ladies, thank you so much for joining us again. And I love these conversations, enriching me with education and a lot of things that I don't think we are too aware about. So, Doc, if I can ask you first, you focus very specifically on adolescents and females in this space, right? What's the reason behind that and why?
My special interest is in women's health in general, but particularly in transitional life stages that women experience. So in the adolescence, in the new mums, and in the perimenopause. Because at this stage, I find that there's so many changes going on because of the hormonal shifts that characterize those life stages. Women's bodies are changing, their brains are changing, how they feel is changing, and there's almost often a loss of sense of self, a loss of who they are. And I think it's an important life stage to really focus on an adolescent, because they're trying to find a sense of independence, a sense of newness, and it's a time where they can feel confused.
I can only imagine how overwhelming that must be when all these changes are happening in this current world as well, when there's so much external influence as well. But with regards to this, you mentioned adolescence as one of these phases, right? How do we approach this from, let's say, a medical point of view or perspective?
I mean, I think medically it's very important to understand that adolescence, by definition, is a stage of finding autonomy. And an adolescent doesn't want to be treated as a child. And specifically, when it comes to medical treatment, adolescent girls don't want to go to the GP that they went to when they were 5. They don't necessarily need to go to their mum's gynae. They don't need to go to a dermatologist to have their acne managed. They need to have someone that they can connect with, who has time for them. And that's where I really believe that if you get that right as a practitioner now, you're really setting up a woman for an entire woman's health journey, to take it seriously, to have someone that they can go to and who's theirs, who's got them, who they also believe there's a sense of privacy. It's not the school counsellor who has a very specific, very important role, but there's a private medical space that they can come to, that their mums and dads are involved in if it's medically necessary, but also there's a sense that that's just for them.
I love the fact that there's someone that is able to be there and allow them to trust and to, I think, unlock the power of a woman, because that's truly what's happening. A woman's coming through to these incredible new stages in their life, and all these beautiful changes are happening as well as they prepare for womanhood. From a, let's say, supplement perspective, Laura, because you are the specialist when it comes to this, is there anything that can assist with, let's say, these imbalances that are occurring for adolescent girls going through this phase?
Yeah, firstly, obviously, the menstrual cycle starts, so there can be a loss of iron there. So iron is important. Supporting your emotional and cognitive health is also incredibly important. So we've got a probiotic called Gut, which supports the gut-brain axis, both ensuring the microbiome is good for your picky eaters, or potentially if there's a specific diet being followed, but then also the emotional connection. You know, it is a transitional change with hormones, and this does have repercussions. And then a good quality omega-3 is always important. You know, your brain is still growing and adapting, and omega-3 is incredibly important when supporting that.
That's great, because I think any assistance in this space could be something that's absolutely welcomed, especially as these changes are occurring. I think more practically, both of you are moms, proud moms at that, and also dealing with these ever-growing changes with our youngsters and this world that they're living in. What advice might you have maybe for parents out there that are possibly dealing with youngsters and kids that are going through adolescence and puberty, because it's such an overwhelming word? Any sort of tips for those that are dealing with this or struggling maybe?
Communication, to be able to have open channels of communication with your children is so incredibly important. Be non-judgmental, to try and take off your disciplinarian hat, so that there is a space for them to say what they feel, how they feel, but more importantly, for when the crunch time comes that they want to talk to you, to be available. Unfortunately, that crunch time, thanks to the teenage brain and sleep cycles, tends to be at 11 and 12 o'clock when we are ready to go to sleep. But I think, and I've experienced it with my own children, if you are there for them when they want to open up at that really, really important time, that is when you are cementing very important conversations and setting them up for their own emotional and health and well-being.
Love that.
Look, my daughter's 2, so I'm not quite there yet, but I'm definitely going to be calling Natalie when we get there, and I think that's fantastic advice.
Yeah, it really is. And thank you again to both of you for providing, I think, from a mental perspective, that safety, that security, and that trust, and knowing that these options are available. But then also from the physical realm, the fact that we can have assistance as we go through these processes. And if you haven't already figured it out, this is an important time to pay attention to your young adolescent child as they go through these phases. And I think it sounds like small, simple changes that can make a big impact. So, Natalie, Laura, again, thank you so much for the insights. And for our viewers at home, if you're looking for easy ways to support your teen's health, be sure to check out Phytoceutics for expert-backed supplements. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Optimize your gut health with Phytoceutics range of pre, pro, and postbiotics. Use code EXPRESSO for 15% off at phytoceutics.com.